It was not. That's the big thing. Exactly. Wasn't hard. So, 4.8 examples. I mean, there's probably going to be a decent amount of examples just to make sure we understand what we're doing, but other than that, not really. Alright, so we're going to first use the quadratic formula to solve the equation. So we're simply just plugging in. Y'all have done the quadratic formula before, right? Using it. Okay. So basically we're just going to do a couple of those, and if y'all are good, we'll just move on. X squared minus 6x plus 7 is equal to 0. So just so we've seen it once in class today, I will write the quadratic formula. X is equal to negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Okay, and like I said in the video, it is on a poster back there behind Ariel's head. So if I leave it up, it's fair game on a test. If I take it down, it might be extra credit on a test, like an extra point. So, anyways, just don't stare at Ariel too long while she's taking her test. It might freak her out. Alright, so basically we just plug these numbers in. Okay, the signs that are with them stay with them when you plug them in. So negative b, so that's going to be negative times negative 6 plus or minus the square root of b squared, so that's negative 6 squared, minus 4 times a is 1 times c is 7, all over 2 times a is 1. That's fine, yeah. I'm just making sure that we see the signs in this one. After that, yeah, I will just do that. Yeah, you can go ahead and just cancel out your signs like at the beginning if you want, but I'm just writing them right now to make sure that we see where everything's going. So then 6 plus or minus the square root of what's left in here. Just going to go ahead and simplify that all the way down. Huh? I think so. Yeah. So simplify that down a little bit more. How can I make that? Okay, so at this point, you're not done, okay? Because this can be simplified more. But the only reason it can be is because there's two terms here that I can take something out. 6 and 2, I can pull a 2 out of both of these terms, okay? If this didn't have a 2 out here, I would be done. But because this is a 2 here, I can pull a 2 out of both things. Over 2, and then this simplifies down into, because the 2's cancel, 3 plus or minus the square root of 2. Okay, but if there hadn't been something in common here to pull out, I could not do this. Okay? I'm sure we'll have another one like that in a minute, but... I pulled it out from here. I took a 2 out of both of these. I did ultimately, but I have to pull it out first to do that. Because commonly what happens is, like, let's just say this 2 wasn't here. People will tell me that the answer is 3 plus or minus the square root of 2 over 2. That's not true. Or they'll get rid of it entirely and tell me that it's 3, like, plus whatever. In this case, it probably would have actually worked out for you, but you have to pull it out of both pieces. This one wasn't a good example to do that because the 2 is on the bottom. But. No. Yes, that's what I was trying to say. Like, you wouldn't reduce it if you didn't have the 2 there, because there would be nothing to pull out of that second term. Because like you can't, if the fraction was on the bottom where that you had like 2 terms being added, you could split the top and bottom. But when it's on the top and you only have one number in the denominator, you can't split it. We'll do more examples like that because this is where people make their biggest mistake, is from here if they don't pull the 2 out of like both pieces, then they end up having problems. So 6 x squared minus 16x plus 7 is equal to 0. Alright, so what do I put in? Alright, on this one, just for the sake of time, somebody wants to grab your calculator and multiply 16 times 16, you can. I'm going to try not to give you any that are really big on the test since you won't have your calculator on the test. $256. So 256 minus 28 over 2. So this is 16 plus or minus the square root of, was that 228? So now can I pull something out of the radical? I'll do it right here. And then I don't think 57 simplifies any farther. So then I can pull out, well, it'll ultimately pull out a 2 because that's, so 16 plus or minus 2 root 57 over 2. So now what do I do? Yeah, I'm going to take the 2 out of the top. Yes. Because that way it shows me you actually know what you're doing. Okay, and normally, like, we do split the radicals up if it's 2, but with the quadratic formula ones, I'll just let you leave it since the formula technically has it already as plus or minus. You can just leave it this way. Alright, I'm going to have you guys try this one for a minute. 5p squared minus 10p plus 24 is equal to 0. Yeah. Are you saying, is it possible, or are you allowed to leave it? Because, yes, it's possible to have that, but you need to do what we did 2 sections ago with it, or whatever that section was. Huh? No. Yes, you can. Yeah, the I stays with the radical, like right outside of it. I'll give you about 30 more seconds, and we'll go over this one. Yeah. All right, let's go over this one. What did we get? Need to use a different color. The screen is getting way too light. Yes. Yeah, you're just, once you have it where something's being multiplied, then you can pull something out of the top and bottom. Where? So from here to here? So the 380, I did 10 and 38. 10 breaks up into 2 and 5. 38 is 2 and 19. So then I had 2 2s, so I could pull a 2 out. And then 5 times 19 is 95. And then at this point, I have a 10 here and a 2 here. Whatever you pull out here might not necessarily be exactly what's down here. So that's where, in this case, we pulled out a 2. And then I had 5 plus or minus I squared root of 95. And then on the bottom I had 10. 2 and 5, or 2 and 10 reduced to 1 over 5. So that's just 5 plus or minus I squared root of 95 over 5. Yeah, we're going to do one of a slightly different type just so that way y'all have seen it before. Same, we're going to still use quadratic formula, but that way you see the slightly harder type. So these ones, notice, they've given you everything on the left side. They already have it equal to 0. So the next type, it's not going to be that way, so all you have to do is move stuff over. So you just have to move it over and then go with it from there. And if you make an error in moving stuff over and then you do the rest of the problem right, I'll try not to take off as many points because sometimes that's like an issue people have with it. Let's see. So for that one, let's do... Alright, we're going to do 20 just so it's a little like harder in terms of moving stuff over, but the quadratic formula process is the same. So 20, we have 6 minus 2t squared is equal to 9t plus 15. Okay? Now, if you want, you can actually move everything to the right side. It doesn't matter. You can move it left or right. I don't care. The benefit of moving it to the right is this 2 isn't negative anymore. But you'll get the same answer either way because it's going to make everything negative or everything positive. So I like to deal with positive, so I'm going to move everything to the right. So I'm going to end up with 0 on the left is equal to, moving this over, so I'm going to add it, so 2t squared. And then, just so I go ahead and get it in order, plus 9t. Then, in order to get rid of the 6 over here, I have to subtract it, so 15 minus 6 is 9, so plus 9. And now I can proceed with the quadratic formula. So let's pause and let you guys do that one. I'll give you a couple minutes to do that one. This one you are going to have to split in order to get the 2 correct answers. There are 2 different answers for this one. Okay. You'll see what it is once you get down to that step, but I'm just letting you know. You will have 2 different answers that do not have radicals in them. Alright, what do we get? Alright, so when you set it up, you plug all the numbers into the quadratic formula. Okay, if you want to just go straight to this step, that's fine. Just make sure you're careful and watch your signs if you do that. You can always write every single step. If you'd like to save a step, that's fine. So at this point, then, you had the square root of 9, which is 3. So this is where I said you need to break it up into two separate ones. So if you didn't do that, that's what you need to do. Because then you're going to have two numbers. Okay, you can leave it together if you have a radical. If you just have numbers, you need to split it. Otherwise, you won't get the correct answers. But then once you split it, you end up with -3/2 and -3. Alright, so that's all we're going to do with the quadratic formula for right now. But the next part is the discriminant part, which that was the table thing from the video. Okay, so we're looking at the value of the discriminant. The discriminant is what's inside the radical, but we don't put the radical with it. It's just purely the number value. Okay, so let's see. Let me focus this back in because it's getting blurry again. We're going to start with 32. So this one is s squared plus 7s plus 11 is equal to 0. So all I need to do is the b squared minus 4ac part. Okay, and then if that's greater than 0, we have two real solutions. If it's equal to 0, we have one real solution. And if it's less than 0, we have two imaginary solutions. Okay, so we can plug these numbers in then. So b squared, so that's going to be 7 squared minus 4 times 1 times 11. So that is going to be 49 minus 44. Which is equal to 5, so how many solutions do I have? So I have, it's greater than 0, so 2 real solutions. Okay, so the book, we're looking for the answer of what the number value was and then how many solutions and what kind of solutions it is. Yep. No, negative is 2 imaginary. So greater than 0 is 2 real, less than 0 is 2 imaginary, equal to 0 is 1 real solution. So, let's see. 34. Negative 4w squared plus w minus 14 is equal to 0. So what do I write down for this one? And you don't have to write this formula down every single time. You can just do numbers. I just wanted to do it for the first one. Yes. So 1 minus 4 times 4 is 16. Somebody do 16 times 14. Thank you. 224. So this comes out to be negative 223, which is less than 0. So what does that mean? 2 imaginary solutions. All right, and there's not a lot that are going to come out to be equal to 0. I tried to, in the homework, give you one of each type, so that way you see it. Do we feel good about that stuff? Okay. I think as you do some problems, it'll probably start to click. So, we good? I can go ahead and give you some problems to do. Okay. All right, 5, 9, 19, 31, 33, and 36. Yep, in just a second, I'm going to freeze the problems up here.